Hello students, today we are going to discuss the chapter 2 of A Vindication of the Rights of Women by Mary Wollstonecraft, and again I have divided this chapter into two parts. So today we are going to discuss the first part of the chapter. So Wollstonecraft has named the chapter as The Prevailing Opinion of Sexual Character Discussed. Wollstonecraft starts the second chapter with the following lines. She says, "To account for and excuse the tyranny of men, many ingenious arguments have been brought forward to prove that the two sexes in the acquirement of virtue ought to aim at attaining a very different character, or to speak explicitly, women are not allowed to have sufficient strength of mind to acquire what really deserves the name of virtue. Yet, it should seem allowing them to have souls that there is but one way appointed by the providence to lead mankind to either virtue or happiness." So, Wollstonecraft basically states that the tyranny of men is preserved through a number of clever arguments that promote incompatible gendered differences. Her argument, on the other hand, bases itself in the similarities between males and females, for both were created human by gods. Hence, both share the same task of seeking perfection through living full virtuous life. Wollstonecraft promotes a concept of virtue, which is obviously a commendable quality of or behavior that is not attainable by conforming to rules, but must be discovered and chosen when people face challenges in their life. So, referring to Milton, Wollstonecraft says that thus Milton describes a first frail mother, though when he tells us that women are formed for softness and sweet attractive grace. I cannot comprehend this meaning unless in the true Mohammedan strain he mean to deprive us of souls and insinuate that we are beings only designed by sweet attractive grace and docile blind obedience to gratify the senses of men when he can no longer soar on the wing of contemplation. So here, touching on Milton's portrayal of Eve in Paradise Lost, which Milton had written in 1667, Wollstonecraft recalls the old argument that women lack souls. She insists that females are soulful and therefore fully human. They are insulted by those who advise us only to render ourselves gentle domestic brutes, and winning softness that governs by obeying. So that should be the trait of a female. So gentleness and softness, childishness and innocence in any adult's behavior equates with weakness. So Wollstonecraft compares career officers and courtiers to affluent women, for all are taught to please and they only live to please. Thus, women and other servile dependents acquire manners before morals. So the virtue are sham, superficial and used to manipulate, and they become prey to prejudice of the authority figures to whom they submit. So she further says that by individual education, I mean for the sense of the word is not precisely defined. Such an attention to a child as will slowly sharpen the senses, form the temper, regulate the passions as they begin to ferment, and set the understanding to work before the body arrives at maturity, so that the men may only have to proceed, not to begin the important task of learning to think and reason. She further says that to do everything in an orderly manner is a most important precept which women who generally speaking receive only a disorderly kind of education seldom attain to with that degree of exactness that men who from their infancy are broken into method observe. So that observation is lacked for the female or lacks in the female education. This negligent kind of guesswork for other epithet can be used to point out the random exertions of a sort of instinctive common sense, never brought to the test of reason. So this prevents the generalizing matter of fact. So they do today what they did yesterday merely because they did it yesterday. So in chapter 1 we see that Wollstonecraft first touches on what constitutes a good change or good marriage. She finds love to be a common passion, a device to avoid the practices of choice, reason and long-lasting friendship between men and women. She insists that the main purpose of marriage are to raise a family and to perfect oneself in the virtues in preparation of the ascetics of the afterlife. So here Wollstonecraft claims differences between men and women that are largely because of how girls are raised. She acknowledges qualities men complain about in women. Wollstonecraft calls this the natural effect of ignorance, because society teaches women that being beautiful is all that matters. So instead of giving them education, they are told how to behave or how should be their manners. So this is what is discussed by Wollstonecraft in the first part of a second chapter. We'll discuss the second part of this chapter in the next lecture. Thank you all.